Welcome everybody. Today we got to play Castles of Mad King Ludwig. Woohoo! So this game is very straightforward. Basically it is a drafting tile game where you try to build a castle based on the king's wishes. The wishes change every game based on different tiles, and yeah, you're trying to build the best. And then each room obviously has different abilities based on the kind of room, and also different victory points. So that basically gives a general synopsis of the game. So going into quality of pieces.
I was going to say, this choice was inspired by the fact that there's an announcement that came out today that they're releasing a collector's edition of this game. So it made us decide, let's go ahead and review it now. And we'll probably review the collector's edition down the road when it comes out.
Maybe I can even play again.
Maybe. Yes.
Maybe. So our daughter did join us for this one. We did have to help her a little bit in certain areas, specifically around strategy. But overall, I think she did fairly well. So just be warning that you're going to have to be a little more involved in the child's play.
The box says 13 and up. You probably don't need to be 13, but you probably do. It'd probably be better if you were on the higher end, closer to 13, as far as being able to play the game in a strategic fashion.
Yes. But to be fair, I mean, she still did well, but then we helped her out.
Yeah.
But she did well. So difficulty level, we would say...
I would say it's on the lighter end of medium. I don't think it's definitely not entry level for someone who's not an experienced gamer, but it's easy for someone who's had a little bit of gaming experience and wants to take that next step up. It's, a light medium.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good segue to start getting into a little more strategy, especially the draft buying.
Yeah.
And it introduces a couple of things that is pretty good. So quality of pieces. So the tiles themselves are a cardboard. Yeah,
they're not super thick cardboard. I mean,
but they're not thin either.
They're
okay.
not flimsy, but they are, a thinner cardstock than what you get on a lot of tile laying games.
Mm-hmm.
The cards are, I sleeved them a long time ago, so I have to pull them out and feel what they were as far as their texture. I know there was a reason we sleeved them. Yeah, there's a slight texture on them, so they are textured, but you are going to shuffle these a lot. So we went ahead and sleeved ours. They're the smaller cards. They're not standard size. They're like small Euro size.
Yeah, and then also cardboard money.
Cardboard rooms.
Cardboard rooms. The board is pieces of cardboard, which they are starting to curl in a lot of different places. I do know there are 3D printable upgrades to this as far as these placeholders, but then the cards don't match while they're sleeved, so you have to modify the STL sheet that is out on Thingiverse for this. Trust me, I know I've attempted to print it.
Yeah, we don't use it because the sleeves don't fit.
Yeah. So there's that piece too of it. Like I said, the cardboard is starting to curl on some of the bigger pieces, specifically the score marker card. So is it functional? Yes. Is it starting to age? Yes. And I don't feel that game is this. How old is this game?
See on here. It's on here. 2015. So
it's not that old, and for it to already be curling, it kind of...
Well, to be fair, our table does have a bit of a bow in it.
That's the board.
Yeah, that is a little curled. But yeah, I mean,
that's the board, and you can tell there's damage in the corners already.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the most. It's not the most sturdy cardboard, that's for sure.
Yeah, I can tell you that.
Yeah. So, what would you rate it though?
Probably a 7. I mean, it's not high end. Maybe, I don't know, 6. 6 maybe.
I'm thinking
6. Maybe a 6. I mean, the individual tiles. That's more in theme. We'll get to theme later, but the art on the tiles is what I was thinking. But yeah, 6 probably from a quality standpoint. I mean, there's nothing real exciting. The wooden castle is kind of neat.
Yeah, but that's all it's got for it.
Yeah, it's not painted or anything, so nothing special. And
We could paint
of
it.
course the money always annoys me. I mean, especially these little tiny coins. I would much rather use my actual poker chip coins as far as money goes.
I'm
And
surprised
use
they're
it.
not out. They're not even
Yeah.
that far away.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, yeah, I agree with the 6. Everything's okay. It's functional, but nothing's,
Really
saying-
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I would also give it a 6.
Now we're moving on to theme. So the theme is you've got a Mad King who's building this crazy castle, and you are building some crazy castles. Let me tell you.
Yep.
My OCD triggers a lot while trying to play this game because I want to complete all the rooms.
Hey, it's the king's castle. It's not your castle. So however the king wants it.
Hallelujah.
So the king has these 3 goals in mind that he wants in his room. And in this case, our game, it was the most downstairs rooms, the most workshops that are the square footage. Whenever you see a square symbol with a line through it, that means square footage. And the most incomplete rooms are actually exits to the outside world.
So pretty crazy.
So you try to maximize what the king wants, but you also have bonus cards of your own that you'll get that you try to maximize for as well. So there's a lot of scoring mechanisms in this game. Not to mention each tile you place gives you scoring. So thematically, though, I mean, the Mad King portion, it really plays into this game. And it's fun to look at, especially if you pay attention to all the tiles, the naming on them, and you think about where these rooms are in relation to one another. It gets to be quite humorous at times when you have...
I have a dirt room next to a propylium. I don't even know what that is.
I don't either.
And then, at least there's a cloakroom. That makes sense. But that's connected to the French gazebo.
Yeah, so it's
I
a
mean,
totally haphazard distribution based upon where things fit in your room. I've got a workshop that's connected to my terrace gardens, which is next to the grand bedchamber. So it's just random placement of rooms. But
Hey, you got a panic room. That one's at the end of the hallway.
Oh,
That makes sense.
Yeah, you got to run past it down.
Panic room. I'm panicking.
You have to run all the way down the hallway to be safe in that panic room. So yeah.
Yeah, totally. So that can kind of give you a few laughs if you're kind of paying attention to those.
But each tile they detailed to be the rooms, which is really unique and interesting because they've painted little tables and all kinds of things that go with each individual room. So it's very thematic. I mean, I think this is probably an 8 as far as theme goes, is what my thinking is.
I can agree with that because it is incorporated in the theme, and it really is, you're building a mad castle. So I could go with an 8. What do you think, sis?
I would give it a 10.
A 10 for theme?
Yeah, 10. The theme really good. I love that you're building a mad castle. Mad.
Yep. Okay. So let's move on to rules.
All right. Well,
it's got a cheat sheet.
It does have a
Very
cheat sheet.
super useful.
The cheat sheets add a few points. The rule book itself takes away. So we're really big on centerfolds this week. So we've got a fold out rule book. The frustrating thing is the way that the print is pretty small on here. So if you've got bad eyes, trying to read it is problematic. But as long as your eyes are okay. The bad part is trying to figure out, like, starting things. You have to kind of read through the text. There's not, like, bold sections to say, this is what your starting money is, or this is what your, it's in there, and if you read through the setup each time, you'll find it. But, you shouldn't have to sift through the text to figure out what is the money that you start with, which is the one piece you're going to forget every game if you don't play it frequently. And, what, victory points you start with, or how many cards you start with. But you have to read through the entire setup to find that every time. Because it's been a while since we played this game. The way it's laid out as far as game end and everything is okay. I mean, it's not great. But the most of everything you need is on the cheat sheet. So scoring is on the back of the cheat sheet, and that's useful, which I just now noticed that was there. It would have been helpful when we were playing.
Yeah, I noticed that at the the starting of the game.
You noticed it was on there? Why didn't you tell me it was on there?
I was asking, like, is this something?
And another thing that is you have to sift through and read each time is setup is different depending on number of players, and that's key because you have to remove certain numbers of tiles and certain numbers of cards based upon the players, which becomes more complicated if you mixed in the expansion, which is mixed in with our set. So to get the actual number of tiles, you would really have to basically back out all of that expansion and then remove tiles if you're playing the base game like we did today. So, we didn't bother with that. We did remove the tiles that it said to, or the card count it said to, but we didn't bother to reduce it based upon the expansion being in there. But as far as rules go, I'd give it a 7. I mean, it's not horrible, and the cheat sheet pulls it back up from probably what I would have given it a 6 otherwise. But, this being as useful as it is, I would probably give it.
Yeah, that cheat sheet's all you really need. And then I absolutely agree. I didn't read the rules, so I don't know. I just know that this cheat sheet is the bomb, and that is what I use. So that's all you need.
The bomb.
Well, it doesn't have, it has in-game. It doesn't have setup, though, so you still need the rule for setup.
And that's what you're there for. Okay, so on to gameplay. We've kind of already talked about the synopsis and the general. What are your overall thoughts?
I love building things, and this game I love point salad games. So this one is really high up there for me. It has all of the bells and whistles that I wanted to have as far as play functionality. Whenever I saw that there was a collector's edition of this, my eyes lit up because the one complaint I have about this game is the quality of the game components.
Really is very loud.
And honestly, we didn't also mention in the box, there's nothing to store this. So you're just basically bagging every one of these individually and throwing them in the box. So there are a ton of baggies in there because we separate every one of these buildings into its own bag.
So we don't have to do it later.
So it's a lot of setup, a lot of takedown. So I'm looking forward because the new one, the collector's edition that comes out is going to have game trays. It's going to have a lot of things that this really needs. And I'm looking forward to seeing what that comes out. The Kickstarter's not up yet. It's not live yet, but it's supposed to be soon and early in 2011.
So we will be backing it, needless to say.
Yes.
I will also say that I lost my train of thought, but game pieces you were talking about.
Well, we're talking about the gameplay right now.
Yes, we are.
So, as far as placing your pieces, you're going to play them in a way such that they trigger these bonuses, and that's really the key to the game. So, when you acquire them, each room has its own unique ability that it gives you when you complete the rooms. And the rooms themselves, you can get extra money back, you can get extra victory points, you can get in-game bonus cards, you can get an extra turn, which is really useful. And then there's the downstairs rooms. Most of the rooms are based upon what they touch directly. Downstairs rooms are different because they trigger based on what's in your entire castle. It doesn't matter where it's positioned. So you want to try to arrange your castle in such a way that it's going to trigger these bonuses for you, but also give you the bonuses based upon what the king's interested in and what your bonus cards collect. So there's a lot of thinking about strategically how much should I pay for a building, because the other thing is you're paying your opponents.
Yeah.
So each turn, one person represents the master builder who arranges the pricing for the built rooms, and they're going to get paid based upon the distribution they chose. So if they know you're interested in a specific type of room, they're going to put it at a really expensive price.
Oh yeah, basement rooms, I know for a fact always go on the high end because of him, as well as orange rooms are next, yellow rooms are next, and then depending on what the motives are, the other things are.
So
and you kind of know your player.
Right. So I mean, there's a lot of strategy involved in this. In you're basically playing your opponents and figuring out what you're going to set the pricing at, but you've also got to set it such it benefits you. So the more you can hide what you're after, the better you're going to be. So there's some bluffing in it, a little bit from that standpoint. There's the point salad, as we mentioned. There's the building aspects, which is just something we all love.
There's a lot of everything that we love in this game, and This is actually one of the first ones that you kind of taught me that I have, it's something that I absolutely love, picked on, and I've tried to share this with multiple people. I remember what I forgot. There's an app for this.
Yes.
So a little bit of a review for the app. I actually think the app is pretty good. It does all the auto calculating for you, which is always fantastic. So you don't have to figure out your score.
The only drawback with the app is there is definitely a benefit to going first on the first turn in the game, and in the game in general. But in the app, you have to choose who goes in what turn order. So if you're playing a 2-person game and you put 2 bots in, or not even put 2 bots in, whoever goes first is going to get a distinct advantage.
I only found that the case with bots, because you know how the bots are going to play, and so
they're not very intelligently.
They're not. So the bots themselves aren't good, but the pass and play is totally worth it. And when we have to alternate, like if I go first, he has to go third. We don't like to set each other next to each other, because we really can mess with each other's score pretty much on the app. So bots aren't good on the app, but the app itself for pass and play is fine.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can play online on it though.
Yeah, it's more of a local game, but it would be a good way to learn the game.
It would.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have the expansion, so you won't get the expansion aspect, which is the Swan or something.
Swan Palace.
Yeah, so honestly, we very rarely even play with the expansion, other than just throwing the building rooms in there.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. As far as scoring, we haven't really talked about scoring.
Give it a score.
As far as gameplay goes, I think this one rates a 9. I mean, the thing is this stemmed from a game called Suburbia, which was one of their predecessor games, and it takes.
This is so much better than Suburbia.
Suburbia is great in its own rights, but it's
can
lovingly called accountancy the game, because you have to do a lot of math while you're playing the game, and there's a lot of weirdness about the way it scores.
The only way I play that game is on the app when I don't have to do the math, and even then my brain hurts.
But this one takes all of that and simplifies it and makes it a much more streamlined game. So this really is a superior version, and more I'd say it's superior for the reason that it's more open to new players.
Yeah.
It's, Suburbia takes a lot of effort. You almost have to have somebody who knows the game very well in order to.
And I don't feel either one of us even know that game very well to be able to manage.
The accounting piece is a little tricky, but I know it pretty well. It's been a while, but yeah, I would say this is definitely a smoother running game version of Suburbia, and for that reason, I think it merits a 9.
I'm fine with that assessment, because honestly, I do love this game. It has everything that I like, and when people mention it, I'm like, yeah, let's play this. So I'm super excited about the Kickstarter starting. I can't wait to see what they come up with. Hopefully it'll be good. But any other thing we gotta talk about?
Purple.
Oh, what did you think about this game?
If it is in all of them, I would give it a 10.
Yeah.
I love the theme. I don't know what else there is.
The building you like the buildings?
Yeah, that's really fun, but I need help.
Yeah.
I need help about that. I don't know what will give me victory points. I don't know what will give me another turn. I don't know any of that stuff. And
you're starting to learn, right? That the castles mean victory points, right?
Yeah, I already know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's learning. She's 6, and it's recommended for 13. So depending on your child, just take that in consideration when you go to play it. Like if you have a 10-year-old, they should be fine. It would. But as you start decreasing in age, you're expect to help them out a little bit, and just kind of know that going in.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed hanging out with us today.
Yeah.
So please hit the subscribe button if you want to see more of what we do, and don't forget the notification bell.
Bye.
Bye.